Aditi Devo Bhava is the culture and tradition of our soil. With such a rich culture and ethos, we feel delighted to welcome the guests and invitees. May I request our principal, Dr. Premlata B, to welcome the guests and invitees and also to the gathering. Over to you, madam.
Good afternoon, everyone. We inherited a beautiful planet from our ancestors. Now it is our time to leave it in the best shape possible for the generations to come. If we conserve the environment today, the future generations will be able to lead a healthier life. We cannot be selfish and use up all the resources for ourselves. Today, we all gathered here to celebrate World Environment Day. I am extremely honored and feel privileged to be part of this special day. We feel blessed by the divine presence of Shri Dr. Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji. Parama Pujya Jagadguru Shri Dr. Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji is the head of Adi Chunchanagiri Mutt. He was born in a rural background in Tumkur district and had early education in the village and passed M.Tech from IIT Madras. Shri Balagangadharanath Mahaswamiji, with an historical tradition of 1800 years, is the present illumined seer Shri Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji, heading the Adi Chunchanagiri Mahasamsthana as its 72nd pontiff. He follows the footsteps outlined by his predecessor with awe and envisions for continuing the good works carried out by Mutt and expanding the same to benefit the global masses. Shri Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji is an ardent follower of Shri Dr. Balagangadharanath Mahaswamiji. Mahaswamiji, unlike other youngsters, had orientation towards spiritual and service activities rather than materialistic happenings. This attracted him to volunteer teaching at the blind school in Archakarahalli, Ramnagar district. He found serving these visually challenged children more smoothing than pursuing research at top engineering institutions of the country. This makes it obvious of the humane and modest nature of His Holiness. He also, like his Guru, believes and enjoys in working for the society, upliftment of the downtrodden, and shares similar views to the former. Mahaswamiji took an ascetic life in 1998 and underwent proper training in traditional knowledge systems. He has mastered Sanskrit and has also learnt Advaita school of philosophy propounded by Adi Guru Sri Shankaracharya. His unquenched thirst for knowledge is evident from his attitude in conferences and functions wherein he enjoys listening to the discourses on Vedas and other Shastras as a student rather than as a head of one of the glorious Mutt. His Holiness is running more than 450 institutions from grade 1 to post-graduation, medical, engineering, polytechnics, etc. His Holiness is very humane and humble towards solving the problems of society. We are really fortunate and blessed to have His Holiness Shri Dr. Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji amidst us for today's celebration of World Environment Day. Pranamas to the feet of Swamiji and seek blessings. Today, on this occasion, we have invited Shri K. Amarnarayan, retired IAS officer, President of Organization for Industrial, Social and Cultural Advancement, OISCA, Bangalore chapter, as a keynote speaker. Sir was kind enough in spite of his busy professional commitments, he has accepted our invitation. Let me introduce Shri Amarnarayan sir. Sir was born in 1954 at Sugattur village, in Kolar district, Karnataka, pursued master's degree in political science from Mysore University and law degree from Bangalore University. As a member of the Indian team, visited UK and France on urban water and sanitization issues and obtained TCT fellowship from Leicester University, UK. Sir visited more than 42 countries in the world to understand the environmental and related issues. As an avid environmentalist and as Deputy Commissioner of Chitradurga, Davangere, Uttar Kannada and Chamarajanagar districts and other senior positions in government, passionately involved in greening of the earth programs, rejuvenation of traditional water bodies and eco-friendly activities to nurture the nature. Served government of Karnataka for 37 years with a blemishless record of service. Even after retirement, active in promoting eco-friendly initiatives, as chairman of Rotary Koti Nati, scripted the project and implemented successfully in Kolar and Chikballapur districts. Currently, member of Karnataka State Policy and Planning Commission, a recipient of Karnataka Rajyasabha Award for 2020, highest civilian recognition to an IAS officer in the field of environment, and also the Karnataka State and UNEP Environment Award in 2012 for his relentless effort on environmental initiatives. International Green Summit Award in 2014 from FKCCI Bangalore, Guardians of Nature Award from Brahmakumaris, Mount Abu, Rajasthan in 2018, besides several honors from various organizations. Today's keynote address focuses on role of educational institutions in the restoration of ecosystems.
Now being recorded.
Welcome you, sir. I accord a warm welcome to Shri Nalin, Secretary and Chief Coordinator of OISCA, for accepting our invitation, who will be introducing Green Wave project. Welcome you, sir. I am extremely delighted to welcome Shri C.A. Vaman Kamath, Treasurer, CHS Association, Mangalore, for presiding over the program. Sir is always guiding light to all our programs. It's my privilege to welcome our correspondent, Shri Marur Sudhir Pai sir, for his constant support. I also welcome our management members for supporting us in spreading the light of knowledge. It's my pleasure to welcome all the representatives and invitees from OISCA and from Sri Adi Chunchanagiri Mutt. I would like to welcome all faculty members, students, participants who are an important part of this program. I would like to request everyone to kindly cooperate with us throughout the program for making it successful. The main motive is to show that when people work united for a noble cause, results will be positive. Thank you and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, madam. Welcome you too. Leadership is the capacity to translate the vision into reality. The keynote speaker is one such visionary. So the profile of our keynote speaker spells out the way his vision brought changes in the lives of many. Indeed, we are eagerly waiting to listen to Sri Amarnarayan sir, retired IAS officer and President, OISCA Bangalore chapter. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody. Wish you all a happy World Environment Day. Today is the day to understand and protect our nature, which is going from bad to worse. In these days of pandemic, the world has seen many disturbances and distractions and has led the human beings to such disastrous events. Now it will take many more years to recover. My pranams to His Holiness Parama Pujya Jagadguru Dr. Shri Nirmalananda Mahaswamiji, my my respects to Varun Vasudev Kamath, who is presiding over this wonderful meeting. And I also remember Sri Nalin, who has come to introduce a new concept called Green Wave 2021 from the Organization of International in Industrial, Social and Cultural Advancement. My sincere thanks to Canara College, who have invited me to say a few words about the role of educational institutions in the eco-restoration that has been devastated in the last so many decades. I also thank Srimati Dejamma, who has been very instrumental in building this webinar. Though there were some technical issues, now everybody is happy. I think we are seeing a large number of people on the participants list. And I also see Sri Dinanath Bhagat Guruji. I think he has joined this webinar with avid interest. Dear participants and Param Pujya Swamiji, now I would like to take you to a small video presentation so that we will understand a few important issues. Now, the United Nations Environment Programme has declared this decade as Ecosystems Restoration Decade. From 2021 to 2030, this decade we will relentlessly work for solving the environmental problems, the ecosystems, and the importance of ecosystems to be highlighted, and collocation with ecosystem. Let me understand what is ecosystem. Whatever we do and whatever we, wherever we live, we have an ecosystem. Recently, I was reading an article. The Apple Incorporation has an ecosystem of their own. An ecosystem is a system wherein all the living organisms and all the features of the world live together and they continue to exist together. Now we can look at the 20 major environmental problems that have engulfed the whole world. There is no place which is without a problem which concerns the environment as much as it is very difficult to understand how these problems are emerging from day to day. The first and foremost problem is the pollution. I could quote from Evo Morales, sooner or later we will have to recognize that the earth has rights to live without pollution. What mankind must know is that human beings cannot live without Mother Earth, but the planet can live without humans. The second biggest problem, the biggest challenge the world is facing is the global warming, overpopulation, soil degradation, natural resources depletion, generating unsustainable waste, waste disposal, deforestation, polar ice caps, loss of biodiversity, climate change, ocean acidification, the nitrogen cycle, ozone layer depletion, acid rain, water pollution, overfishing, urban sprawling, public health issues, and genetic engineering. Now, what is the role of educational institutions in combating the emerging issues? First and foremost is the environmental education. Most of the educational institutions do spare some time for understanding the environmental issues, but that is not enough. Now, each and every educational institution has to focus on a particular ecosystem or a particular issue that has engulfed the whole environment in the world. Now, the educational institutions can also implement solid waste management policies, which will definitely benefit the whole world and the very ecosystem of the education institution itself. Showcasing the eco-restoration projects, and all the students should become environment friendly in the days where there is so much of hazard which is being done to the environment, and protect the Western Ghats. Because this Canara College is located in Western Ghats, I would like to say a few words about Western Ghats in the later part of my speech. Now, to understand understand today's importance, we need to have a green wave for the next 1 decade. His Holiness Sri 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 Dr. Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji has been very avid in promoting the green carpet to the Mother Earth. In this picture, you can see he has planted lakhs and lakhs of trees wherever he goes. This is a file picture. He was inaugurating the laying of a foundation stone in a remote village, on which day he requested the authorities to plant a few trees. This shows that the spiritual leaders can definitely lead us to have a better world and better environment for the future. Now, why should we green? Greening enhance the ecosystems. There is a close relationship between the greening and the ecosystems. I will show you a few examples of how the ecosystems can be improved by taking up the greening initiatives. Now, this will act as a protection against the climate change. The whole of the world is facing the problem of climate change. There is drift in seas. There are so many tsunamis. There are fire hazards and so many disastrous events that are taking place: floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, and whatnot. Now, if we have more greenery and if we have more forest, it will add to the development of biodiversity. Due to the biodiversity, all living beings can have different ecosystems wherein they can live happily, and the whole world depends on this kind of a biodiversity. And we are very fortunate to have one of the world's 6th biodiversity reserve in Karnataka, that is Western Ghats. There are only 2 biodiversity reserves in India. That is one in the northeast and one is in the south. So it is this biodiversity which is giving us water, which is giving us so many other benefits by way of a boon to the whole of South India. Then we have this biodiversity and greening efforts will definitely help us to rejuvenate rivers, revival of water bodies, moisture conservation, increase in flora and fauna, about to bees, birds, animals, reptiles, and whatnot. I am very much influenced by His Holiness Sri 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 Dr. Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji. In addition to this, I also remember His Holiness Paramapuja Bhairavaikya Dr. Sri 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 Balagangadharnath Mahaswamiji. In 2005, I met him for the first time in a small program in Nagamangala. As you are seeing in this picture, His Holiness Balagangadharnath Mahaswamiji had a vision to plant 5 crore plants in the state. That is equivalent to the number of people who are living on this Karnataka soil. Unfortunately, the initiative could not be completed. It did make a good beginning, but it could not be completed. And I wish His Holiness Sri 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 Dr. Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji would continue in the tradition of his benevolent predecessor and would complete the dream which Dr. Balagangadharnath Mahaswamiji had envisioned. Friends, just have a look at this picture. You will see on the west a small patch of greenery. Towards the east, you see the sea. That is the Bay of Bengal. In the entire Karnataka, only the western portion is looking green. The rest of the state looks like a ball of earth, which is bereft of greenery. I'm showing in the right side, you can see the districts which have some semblance of greenery, commencing from the Uttar Kannada up to Chamarajanagar. The rest of the state, as you see, here and there you see some patches of greenery. Otherwise, the whole state, nearly 90% of the state is barren. It is like a ball of earth. Now, it should be our vision to see that this brown area becomes green by the end of 2030. If we create more greenery in this part of the state, we will definitely get the biodiversity, the required rain. Many of the rivers that are flowing here, they will also be rejuvenated, enriched, and whatnot. The whole life of this state will definitely be boosted if there is greenery, and when there are trees, it will become the national wealth and not any individual's wealth. The mother nature will definitely bless us with many benefits if we take up a massive greening program. I would like to showcase a project which I did in 2006, and I just visited this project in 2000. My last visit was in 2015. It is called Ingeldal. We had planted nearly 50,000 different varieties of plants, only to bring back environmental health and ecosystem vitality to a place which was bereft of any greenery. I used to call Prithvige Hasira Lasike, Bhumatege Hasira Odike. Now everybody is worried about the vaccination. Everybody is worried about the health, but nobody is worried about the health of the Mother Earth. Now I say, vaccine of the planet is nothing but greening the planet. Mother Earth will have a green carpet if you do the vaccine at every place. Like we take a vaccine to our left shoulder, no, at every step we need to plant and make this country and this world more greener. You will see a ball of earth like this. This is nothing but a copper mine ore, and they had extracted the copper ore, and they had left the mound of earth just like this. This is a day prior to the planting of 50,000 plants in a day. We engaged school children, Rotary Club, and NGOs to take up this gigantic task. Nearly 300 children, citizens, and NGOs, they participated in this greening that program, and in a single day, we have planted varieties of plants which are acclimatized to this hillock. This hillock is nothing but the extracted earth from the ground, and there are a lot of pebbles, stones, and whatnot. A very a poor soil where there is nothing in this, but we could make a mark in this barren land, and this becomes green. So all the children were involved, and each and every one did plant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 10, as many number as possible. This happened on 24/9/2006. So with the help of Forest Department, Mairada, Spin Wakuta, and then Hari Yuva Kendra, we did this program. This old board still appears there. Now, this was the state of affairs after planting. You will see the plants at every 10 feet. Please remember this picture. This is the picture taken on 24/9/2006. There is nothing in this. There is not even the semblance of ecosystems, any sort of ecosystem except the windmills. Because of the high speed of wind, the whole place was chosen for erecting the windmills, but underneath the windmills, there were only shrubs. So it was, I dreamt that this patch of land should become the evergreen forest. After 1 year, this was the result. After 2 years, after 5 years, in 2015, there is a huge forest which has come up. The whole place was guarded by the security personnel of the Hatti gold mines. The cattle were not allowed to browse. Either cattle nor goat or sheep were allowed to graze in this place. Just because of the protection we gave, today 50,000 plants have become a mini forest. The ecosystem has developed to such an extent, now a barren land and a ball of earth has become the place for porcupines, which are very rare to see, wild boar, deer, bear, and whatnot. Many reptiles and variety of birds and bees. So this is how we can create an ecosystem by involving the students, the NGOs, and the citizens. It is possible. I think there is nothing impossible in this world. If we take interest, we can definitely achieve anything in this world. Only thing is we need a willpower. I had shown the earlier picture. There was nothing in this place. Today you can go and see a lot of people are picnicking in this spot because it is having such a cool atmosphere. I want to see this picture. The earlier picture was in 2006. Now it is in 2015. This is a place which has bounced back from a barren land to a green land. So this is how I made use of the students' community to make one eco-friendly project and to build a perfect ecosystem for the animals and the human beings too. Now, I would like to say a few words about the Western Ghats because the program is anchored by Canara College. It is the abode of biodiversity and it has rare ecosystems. But it is on the extinction. A lot of birds are on the extinction. Species of plants are dying, and it's all because of many reasons. Now it is under severe threat of destruction. One is dam construction, secondly, road formation, thirdly, laying of railway lines, mining, deforestation, etc. On this auspicious day, I request all those who are interested in conserving the nature and building up the ecosystems to take a pledge to preserve the fragile ecosystems of Western Ghats. If Western Ghats are gone, the whole of South India is gone. There is no Bhadra river, no Kaveri river, no Netravati river, nothing. The whole river system of Western Ghats, it is helping us and it is providing us water and shelter to so many in the down south. If this Western Ghats is lost, it is as good as going and living in Sahara Desert. Now, I would like to say a few words about the greenest countries on the earth. Well, in more than 180 countries, out of 180 countries which are assessed for environmental performance index for air and water quality, waste management, carbon emissions, and health factors, there are only 21 greenest countries in the world. The rest of them are not enlisted yet. India is nowhere. Karnataka, we can't even dream of. The best green countries in the world, which has got the highest marks, 82.50, is the Denmark, followed by Luxembourg, Switzerland, United Kingdom, France, Austria, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Germany, Netherlands, Japan, Australia, Spain, Belgium, Iceland, Ireland, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, and Mauritius. How to celebrate with nature? We all eat, we all live happily on this Mother Earth. What is the index of happiness? The index of happiness comes from a healthy environment. Of late, we are not able to focus on the planting in any place. Recently, that was on 22nd May, I celebrated my 38th anniversary of marriage by planting a tree. Not one, I planted 3. I am watering only one, the other 2 are not seen in the picture. I appeal to the college students to plant a tree on important dates. This is how we can make and nurture this nature and make this earth more greener. For example, if you are observing a birthday or enjoying a marriage anniversary or festivals or national days or international days, plant in the name of your beloved ones and enrich our Mother Earth so that we can do the vaccination to the Mother Earth by individual efforts, not by any governmental agencies. Supposing we do this, we need not gape at the skies. We need not carry an oxygen cylinder on your back. But when you see this, you will have a very serene and beautiful atmosphere around you. This will also answer the special development goals set up by the United Nations Environment Program. The goal number 3, good health and well-being. Goal number 15, life on land. Goal number 13, climate action. All these factors get corrected and ecosystems will improve once we implement massive afforestation programs. Yes, the role of education institutions. Now I have just taken through the gallery of photos and my work, which I did practically in Chitradurga. Any education institution, if you are interested in restoring any ecosystem, select a degraded place for creation of a new ecosystem. Organize planting campaigns through students. Please make use of the student. They are the biggest human resource we have. We are not able to make optimum use of the students in any of our programs. Plant and protect, and don't forget, for a minimum of 3 years. Monitor the changes on the ecosystem of a hillock or a barren land or a place where you do a planting work. Inculcate the knowledge of developing green ecosystems and pledge to protect the existing pristine ecosystems like Western Ghats or any other place which is nearer to you. I would come to the next major issue which is bugging our ecosystems is the waste management. Though it looks waste is the one which is being the greatest challenge in almost all parts of the world. The present status is waste is seen as waste, but not as a resource. Now we have 5 principles. We are following only 3, but there could be 5 principles which can be made use for waste management, like reuse, recycle, reduce, to be done holistically. There is nothing called waste. 90 to 95% can be used as a resource. It calls for a holistic management at all levels. Now, how to involve the students for waste management? It calls for massive awareness, waste to wealth, compost, energy. These are the issues which we can introduce to them from time to time. Waste to be seen as a great resource, for example, e-waste. I would like to take this very important aspect for my discussion, which is bugging the ecosystems in umpteen number of ways. What is e-waste? You can see whatever you have in front of you, in your pockets, everywhere is the e-waste. Used, obsolete, irreparable, broken, unusable, or defected, they are all e-waste. They may be electrical or electronic products which were operated with electric power and or battery. You will see a number of e-waste items here. Maybe a TV screen, a telephone, a tablet, or a computer, or a computer desktop, or a earphone and whatnot, DVD, everything. These are the major electronic gadgets which we are using everywhere. Now, I would like to say a few words about how e-waste is accumulating in the entire world. It is going to create a tsunami of e-waste because the number of items which we are using day by day is increasing. It is increasing in such a exponential manner that we are not able to contain it. We are not able to reduce the numbers, and we are adding more to the number than reducing it, and it is resulting in the whole the depletion of the ecosystems. What are the health impacts of e-waste? You can see the human body, which is from top to bottom, is being affected by the electronic gadgets. It affects the brain, it affects the lungs, it affects the kidney, it affects the liver, it affects the heart, everything. Now, what are the substances that are affecting our body? Lead, mercury, cadmium, plastics, arsenic, beryllium, barium, hexavalent chromium, brominated flame residuants, retardants. And what are the health issues I'm showing in this picture? It is affecting our nervous system, kidney damage, stomach damage, birth defects, lung, skins, and many diseases which are unknown to us. So what is the way? What's the way out? In India, the e-waste is handled in a very unsystematic manner. It is where the component harvesting, open burning, acid leaching, and landfill. These are the results of unscientific e-waste management. Now it is causing irreparable impacts on our environment, ecosystems, health and safety, and the valuable resources, and our Mother Earth is losing day by day. I just give you a scenario wherein Karnataka is the second largest producer of e-waste. We produce something like 292,846 metric tons, that is 9% of the waste in Karnataka. There are only 90 recyclers, but zero integrated facility. We are losing. It is an aspect which will have 2,886 crores of rupees. This money is not being exploited by us. E-waste values and resource loss. Though it's a sustenance of informal sector, planet to be protected now, we have to see the ecosystems which are in place shall not be disturbed anymore. The e-waste generation is 292,846 metric tons, value 2,886 crores. We recover only 317 crores. The estimated loss is 2,569 crores. It is a loss of life. It is a loss of natural resources. It is a loss of resource and energy loss, impact on economy. Economy means electronics, energy and environment, and ecological imbalance. All these factors can be rectified if we do a scientific e-waste management. E-waste is a growing resource. Its opportunities to transfer into values are galore. Transformation towards sustainability and circular economy it does exist in the economy, but the problem is we need a sound policy to get this done through the educational institutions. I saw in Ministry of External Affairs, in the apartment complex, they keep a drop box like this so that the e-waste doesn't go to the regular waste bin. And in the right side picture, you see how the electronic components are segregated systematically. This is a picture. On the left, I am showing you the picture of Mangalore. On the right, I am showing the picture of Bangalore. Waste is a precious resource. In Mangalore, the waste is collected and they are segregating on the spot nearby the houses. In Bangalore, they are doing wet waste on a different day, dry waste on a different day, and cleaning on a different day, so that there is no interference from one or the other. You can see in this truck, there are cotton beds, there is a discarded chair, there are wrappers, there are corrugated boxes. You can see them not being loaded into the truck. This happens every week on the streets of Bangalore. It is a good practice which is making the waste not to go into the landfill. That civic body is the best, which governs its waste in a systematic manner. We need not worry about the piling up of the waste mounds. We need to curtail them, reduce them, and make it more efficient, and we should bring it back to the industry or to the economy by reusing it or recycling it or reducing it. Now, the role of education institutions again in the waste management is they have to take up awareness programs on any type of waste management, not necessarily e-waste. It could be wet waste, dry waste, or kitchen waste. Engineering colleges can create an ecosystem for understanding the e-waste management policies and procedures. We have any number of engineering colleges in the state, but the computer section and the electronic section of the engineering colleges need to focus on this. Whatever the e-waste that is being produced in the vicinity, it can be collected and processed and brought back to the economy. This will also enable, this will be a potential for employment generation, and any number of startups can be commenced with the use of the students in the engineering colleges. Now we need to have waste management cells in every college to see that the e-waste is not going as a waste to the economy. OISCA can provide technical support to educate the young students on the e-waste management issues. We have any number of technocrats and technical institutions to do this. Only we need a mindset and we need the willpower to do this. I request His Holiness Dr. Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji to bless us to take up this kind of projects in the engineering colleges across the state. I'm very happy to say that the Canara College had invited me in 2018 for the CONCON 2018 Individual Social Responsibility in Waste Management. I really loved this subject. Now everybody blames the government, blames the civic bodies, blames the municipal corporation, blames the ministers, blames the CM, PM and everybody. Whose responsibility is it to maintain or manage the waste? Is it the government or is it the individual citizens? We had a day's deliberations on this. I was so happy to see this. I sat through the whole day and I understood the whole issues of the waste, the role of individual in waste management, and it was an eye-opener for everybody in the country. I need all the education institutions to have a similar seminars or meetings like this, so that we can exchange the ideas and we can arrive at one of the most wonderful solutions for the waste management in the country. These are the 5 photos. This is the need of the hour. Individual social responsibility in waste management. I inaugurated this seminar. I think all those who are sitting in this webinar are very much present in this webinar also. The whole lot of students, the whole hall was jam-packed with students and the faculty. Now, domestic waste, it is the greatest threat to ecosystems. The landfills nearby the cities, nearby the villages, is sending an alarm to the whole whole mankind. The wet waste, the dry waste, the medical waste, the hazardous waste, and the non-segregated waste, it is causing a lot of concern to the ecosystems. Wet waste is damaging the water bodies. It is leachate resulting in water contamination. The dry waste, if it is not processed, it is burnt, which is again hazardous to the mother earth. And medical waste, if it is not treated properly, it will become the super spreader of any viruses. The hazardous waste like e-waste need to be looked into in a systematic manner, and any non-segregated waste is as good as is not welcome, and everybody shall do the segregation at the source. When I visited Ireland, I saw in a car park there are 8 varieties of bins. They have kept 8 varieties of bins for varieties of waste. The last one is the clothing bank. Whatever the clothes that are discarded at home are put into that bin, and they take it back and either they refurbish or they clean it or they dispose it in a systematic way so that it is not causing any hazards to the pristine ecological system. These are the bins, and there is one place in the world which I have seen. It is London. London has bins for dogs waste also. It is very strange. On every pole of the localities, they would have hung a small box wherein the droppings of the dogs has to be disposed of, and this is being collected by the municipal corporation once in a way, so that it doesn't cause any serious hygienic and health hazards. So this is how any advanced countries can think of. So when we take the Indian scenario, we litter every place, we spit at every spot, and we do not segregate the waste, and we are the ones who are really definitely killing the ecosystems which can be maintained in a systematic manner. I also saw in Cambodia, they have made waste pins out of waste itself. It's a tire which has been painted and called Euro Gourmet. And in Ireland, they have a all steel bin for the dog waste, and the other one is solar street bin. So it gives an alarm. If it is full, it gives an alarm. And if you put anything other than the specified item, it gives an alarm. And you will see a small steel piece. It is meant for disposing the cigarette butts. What a novel idea. So this is how the advanced countries are managing their waste. And in the first two pictures, you see, can you make out what they are? They are all the caps of the Mirinda, Coca-Cola, and other things. This I noticed in Ivory Coast. They are making toys out of the waste. Out of the waste. These are the caps of the bottle cans. And in the right, this is my house, wherein I systematically dispose of my dry waste. I segregate newspapers, I segregate corrugated boxes, I keep plastic separately and all other things in a bag, and see that I earn money on this. I don't throw a single piece of paper outside except the bills which are given in the petrol bunk and in the malls, which are wax papers. I am not a preacher, I am a practitioner. You can see at the left-hand side, I keep a compost pot in my house. Every 6 weeks, I produce 25 kgs of compost. This is the best compost one can ever see in the world. All the kitchen waste goes to the pot. After 6 weeks, I recover one of the best compost in the world, and I use it at home only. And the wet compost requires a bit of attention. We need 3 more components. One is the remix powder, other one microbes, and a bit of neem powder. And we have to invest some money on this, but the results are splendid. By using that compost, I am repotting the plants, and I am mixing the red earth with the compost, and I also make seed balls. I do not waste a single seed which is used at home. Whatever fruits we eat, even the mango, the jackfruit, the custard apple, and also I collect some of the seeds on my street, like pongamia and other ornamental plants. In 2017, by collecting this kind of seeds, about 20 to 25 kgs, we made seed balls and dispersed in the hills of Chitradurga. I distinctly remember a person by name Magnur Chandrasekhar. He had come all the way from Davangere to disperse the seeds on a barren hillock. Today, that hillock is looking little green. The initiative which we took through the help of students, scouts, and the local citizens and the dental college students, it is wonderful. Wherever you find a barren hillock, you can definitely make use of the domestic seeds and make the seed balls. This is the kitchen garden I have maintained in my house by using the compost which I generate. You can see the chlorophyll and the greenery and the perfect colors in which the flowers have bloomed. Every day I take walk on the terrace amidst these plants. Now, due to the COVID reasons, this has become a heaven for me because I am not allowed to go out either in the park or walk in the park or on the road. This is how I collect the seeds. And I also distribute the seeds to a Greenwood school in Maddur, near Maddur in Mandya district. They make seed balls and disperse them in the nearby hillocks. And this is an initiative taken by one of the young principals of the school called Greenwood School. This can be done by the students. They can collect the seeds in the vicinity or from their homes and make use of these seeds for growing our own greenery around us. Today's seed is tomorrow's hope. Any seed that's collected and put into the mud, it will definitely germinate. The result may be small. It may germinate up to 10 to 15%, but it is very cost effective. It doesn't cost much. One seed ball costs around 1 rupee 50 paise. one plant costs around 100 to 200 rupees. So which is better? Even if you lose 85%, 15% will make good. And these plants cannot be grown in inaccessible areas, but these seed balls are the ones which make the ecological balance to come back or bounce back in the hillocks and the barren lands. Now, how the ecosystems in the campus can be improved. Now, the mobility. Now, we need to look at the issues like I made a mention about the air pollution. It is the vehicular pollution which is killing us everywhere, not only in one continent, in every continent of the world. We need to switch over to the e-vehicles or biodiesel or LPG or hydrogen. Then I already dwelled upon waste management. Now I will add 2 more units to the 3 R's, that is reduce, reuse, recycle. Now we may have to think of refurbish and retrofit. Refurbishing can be done in the e-waste. Retrofit can be done for all the vehicles like cars, scooters, and heavy trucks, or even the buses. Retrofit, I mean, from change from IC internal combustion engines to electric engines, or the gas engines or biodiesel engines. So this will definitely help the economy, and this will protect our fragile ecosystems for some more years. And then monitoring the utilities like water, electricity, and LEDs. Solar and rainwater harvesting could be practiced at every spot. Now, I would like to give a small issue of air pollution. Karnataka has 2 crore, not 2 crore, it is about 2.72 crore vehicles. There are 2-wheelers, 4-wheelers, 6-wheelers, and 10-wheelers. Now, I would like to share a success story like air pollution remedies and charity begins from home. I'm the first IAS officer and the transport commissioner of a state to travel in an electric car, Mahindra E2O. This is the smallest car which I was using for commuting from home to office and office to home. The then chief secretary cracked a joke on me. Arey Amar Narayan, this is a small car. It is like a toy car. Even children cannot sit and enjoy that ride. How are you doing it? I said, I quipped at him, and I replied to my chief secretary, sir, I am not taking a jolly ride to my office, but I am taking a safe and pollution-free ride to my office. I don't want to pollute the environs. So I opted for the electric car, and I paved the way for the implementation of the electric policy in the state of Karnataka. This was also reported in the newspapers. Then my example was emulated by other states. Now, what is the remedy for this? Now I would like to introduce this subject called, or a theme called Gali Gundu Gida, one wheel, one plant. Now, polluter to plant. All these days, we were requesting the mining companies to plant under the compensatory forest. They are doing compensatory forest because they are mining in the deep. But now we are not mining in the deep, but we are running the vehicles on the surface, and we are polluting every bit of the surface of this Mother Earth. Now it is the duty of the polluter to plant a tree at least one wheel, one plant. Now all students commuting on IC vehicles to plant as many as plants as per the wheel numbers. I would like to request the Canara College to take a count of the students who are coming on scooters and 4-wheelers, that to ICE vehicle, that is internal combustion vehicles operated through fossil fuels, and they shall plant one plant per wheel. Education institutions to introduce eco-friendly vehicles using biodiesel or electric vehicles. Now there are many education institutions which are running buses and omnibuses for the use of the institutions. Can they go in for biodiesel or electric vehicles? At least by introducing this, we have to make a beginning now, because the fossil fuels are on the extinct. Now we have to conduct a research on new vistas of automobiles to maintain ecosystems. Now there is a lot of opportunities in the Ministry of Transport, Road Transport and Highways. They are encouraging new innovations and R&D projects for electric batteries, electric cars, electric scooters, and electric bikes. I saw these things in Ireland and UK when I visited last. So they have chargers everywhere located on the road. So it is now we have petrol pumps everywhere, it requires just 2 feet by 2 feet to install a charger. And it can be operated through a Wi-Fi. This is an innovation which an engineering college has done in UK, United Kingdom and Ireland. I request all the engineering colleges can do this, and they can do much better than this. They can have sleeker charging units and better systems in place in India also. It is an R&D section can be opened in each and every engineering college to promote e-mobility. The biggest challenge is we are traveling by several modes. We have single driven cars, we have single driven SUVs, MUVs and whatnot. I make it a point to travel in metros. Those who are having metro service, please use it. You will be reducing on the carbon footprint. Not only on the carbon footprint, you are reducing the pollution to a large extent by using a metro. This is safe, sound, and comfortable. I'll come back to my house. My house is an eco-friendly house. Everybody can think of this. This improves the ecosystem of a city. We have a solar system of 6.5 kilowatts, a rainwater harvesting of 1,500 liters. I water all the plants through the rainwater. I produce my own electricity. I also sell 5 kilowatts of power to the grid. So thereby, I am not only helping the economy, I am helping the in situ use of the solar rays and the rainwater. This will answer the special development goals, and we will be definitely meeting if we do the above initiatives, all those initiatives which I have mentioned just now. We will have good health and well-being, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life on land. Now, the whole ecology, the Mother Earth, is lying like this on a barren land. Now it's our duty to make it beautiful. We have only one planet. Let us nurture it. Thank you for your patient listening.
So thank you for that comprehensive and an eye-opener presentation. You also showed us a way that means through which we as an education institution contribute to this cause. Thank you very much, sir. We have with us Sir Nalin, the Secretary and Chief Coordinator of OISCA, who will be now introducing the Green Wave program. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all the distinguished guests and listeners of this webinar. I'm very happy I got such a chance to hear the very detailed and eye-opening presentation by our Amar Narayana sir. Thank you, sir. So what I am thinking is, the first I wish to point out a small correction in the name of our organization. OISCA is the short form of Organization for Industrial, Spiritual and Cultural Advancement. Let me repeat it. Organization for Industrial, Spiritual. It was mistaken by somebody as social. Instead of social, it is spiritual. Organization for Industrial, Spiritual and Cultural Advancement. Please note it. Okay. OISCA was established in South India. It was started from Tokyo. It was established by people even from India. Don't think that it is a Japanese organization. And the base of OISCA is on Gandhian philosophy actually. And Indian mythology also has taken. Okay, I am not going to explain all these things. Just I wish to say, what is the green wave? Before that, suppose if I want to go to green wave, I have to explain what some simple things about OISCA's program, the Children's Forest Program. The Children's Forest Program is a project which involves all the students of schools and colleges and inviting them to join hands together by themselves and with OISCA to regreen our Mother Earth. The name itself is showing that Children's Forest Program. We had a lot of activities in Karnataka also. Along with the support of Karnataka government, I have implemented this project in 200 schools in rural Bangalore, urban and Ramnagara districts. And here we are giving the chance for our children. For children, action itself become a powerful way of learning about the environment, because it helps children to realize that their action can make a difference and fosters a sense of responsibility for their immediate actions. So the concept of OISCA's Children's Forest Program, we popularly call it, as well as it is known as CFP, is based on this principle. The CFP is an environmental learning program that is typically based in schools and colleges with children as main actors. In addition, teachers, parents, and others also, anybody, all the anybody can outside also from the community usually join the children in building mini forest on or near their school grounds. CSP is a simple, flexible, and can be implemented almost anywhere. It's a long-term program in which children not only plant trees, but also take care for them over a long period of years. Not only taking care of the trees, they are taking care of the whole biodiversity. It is for them through experience. CFP participants about complex interactions in nature while gaining a sense of pride and accomplishment in making positive, concrete contributions to their communities. Because the system is like so. We are in each and every school, wherever the project is going on, we are selecting a teacher coordinator, and under him, the children are doing all these activities. And that's simply in a crisp or in a nutshell about the Children's Forest Program. And the South India office of OISCA is at Calicut, and it was established in 1985 at Calicut in South India. Now, in all 6 states in South India, the activities are going on, and in Karnataka, very well. Under the able leadership of Mr. Amar Narayana, they already planned during last year, everywhere, all over the India or all over the world, people were stranded inside due to COVID pandemic. But in Karnataka, Sri Amar Narayana, he led so many people to plant trees. And thousands of trees last year also were planted in Karnataka. So during these years, we have been doing various environmental protection activities too. Our main activities, as I told, this is and Love Green Clubs to be established in schools is the basic unit of this Children's Forest Program. And I am proud, and it is my privilege to tell you that this project, when the seedlings became, as recognition of these activities, Government of India blessed OISCA by conferring the prestigious Indira Priyadarshini Vrishamitra Award in the year 2002. In addition to these activities, we also undertake many activities for elders, women, and youth also. I request the Canara College students to join hands with our South India Youth Forum, and they can do a lot of work through that. And now I am coming to the Greenway. OISCA is closely associating with United Nations. And in 1982, OISCA was awarded with the Earth Summit Award by UN. Later, and before that itself also, OISCA International has the consultative status with UN. Now the OISCA South India chapter also is having consultative status with United Nations. That means we can deal with the many environmental problems directly with the United Nations. And for, when the biodiversity decade started in 2001, UN and OISCA started this program Green Wave. And Green Wave is including, actually the children of schools can plant some trees, or they can do any biodiversity supporting activities. They can plant trees, they can care trees, and they can do waste management activities and such things which all are supported with to the biodiversity. They can act, and from 22nd of that, it was the World Biodiversity Day on May 22nd. Between May 22nd and June 5th, the World Environment Day, they were supposed to do all these activities. But due to the COVID pandemic, this year UN has allowed us to take the program up to 15th of this month. I mean, there is 10 more days are there. Any school or college can take up such activities and send us 1 or 2 photos of the activity along with a report. I have already shared that this committee, college, regarding the Green Wave program, how that will be implementing. Okay, or I shall send the details to the college again. So these activities along with the photographs, you please send back to us, and we shall onward transfer that your report to the UN, and you will get a certificate that you have participated in this activity in the name of the institution. Welcome. You will get that certificate, and that certificate itself will be a honor to your institution, definitely. And after that, we are doing so many programs, big planning programs also with the institutions. Like in Mysore area, in association with the JSS institutions, we have planted about 80,000 trees in 10 of the institutions. Like this, Canara College and the allied institutions, we can plant a lot, but in such things, we have to start with a MOU between OISCA and the institution who is taking part of the. Dr. Sri Amarnarayana will detail you how it is and what it is. As well as Mr. Nankishore also, the secretary also is there. He will explain you how to enter into such activities. It depends on whenever we are getting such a chance and we can do. So I shall send the details of this Green Wave program to the college. Right now itself, already I have sent that to the college authorities, I think. They were supposed to, I was expecting that to be shown in the screen. Okay, only this much is for time being. I know the time is very constrained. So timing, let me stop it here, and we can do many things together. I wish all the best to the students, teachers. Now the pin has come. Only now the pin has come. So far I was not getting that pin for the spin. Okay. Anyhow, I wish all the best to the Canara College and other allied institutions and the students, teachers, and all people from the side of OISCA International South India. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. There is no higher religion than human service. To work for the common good is the greatest creed. This quote rightly personifies the pontiff of Sri Adi Chunchanagiri Mahasamsthana Mata, Sri Dr. Nirmalanandanatha Mahaswamiji, who will now bless us with his divine message. Swamiji, it's your turn.
जय श्री गुरुदेव. श्री विद्यां जगतां धात्रीं सर्गस्थितिलयेश्वरीं Namami Lalitam Nitya Maha Tripura Sundari. Hoping that I am being listened to you all. At this hour, I submit my humble pranams to the divine soul of His Holiness Jagadguru Padma Bhushana, Dr. Sri Bal Gangadharan Mahaswamiji, and my greetings to Mr. K. Amar Narayana, who is the reason for my presence over here as a president of Organization for Industrial, Spiritual, Cultural Advancement, Karnataka chapter. For almost 30 plus minutes, spoke in detail with all the narratives and the pictures, not bringing from elsewhere, rather out of his own action and his own creation. We are very much thrilled to listen to you, Mr. Amanarayanji. You being a devotee of Srimat, not just you have been preaching, rather you have been practicing too. Once again, my greetings to you. Sri Nalinji, Secretary and Chief Coordinator, Hoiska, and CM Waman Kamatji, representing CHS Association Manglo. As a whole, I must thank Canara College from Mangalore, Hoiska, of course, the Adi Chunchanagiri Sectional Trust. With the confluence of these three organizations today, we have been celebrating World Environment Day of 2021. It is not quite strange. All the gentlemen and the people, those who are presented over here, are very much aware of what actually we have been speaking or what is going on. The reason why we have been conducting this program is make people to know what should be known only to the ignorant minds, those who are not aware, having been using all the best of the world, those who are not at all showing any concern for them, we have been conducting this program. This World Environmental Day is one of the biggest annual events organized by the United Nations. What for? It is to generate awareness about the significance of the nature. So Amar Narayanji just mentioned so many things. Still, as a responsibility to know, to make know these things to our children, because this is the program which is the students and the institution center. It's because of that I may have to give certain background details about this day. The United Nations Assembly established World Environment Day in 1972, long ago. World Environment Day is observed every year on June 5th to remind people about the significance of nature. This day will keep us reminding the wrong what we did to our environment and the right what we should do to correct it all. Nature is our mother. She has bestowed so much and everything upon us to live quite happily. Nature is nurturing one side, but in turn, other side we have been torturing. This day of celebration across the world to caution the people that the nature should not be taken for granted, because we have taken nature for granted. Instead, nature should be respected for its contribution to the world creation. On 22nd May, few days ago, we celebrated International Day for Biodiversity with the theme of UN Decade on Ecosystem and Restoration. Earlier, 2011 to 2020, same was being celebrated as UN Decade on Biodiversity. From this year, for next 10 years, Biodiversity Day will be celebrated as UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. It is important to note that the World Health Organization, WHO, has joined United Nations Decade, UN Decade on Ecosystem Restoration, a mission to prevent and reverse the degradation of ecosystem and the diversity of the life this is time. WHO will work as collaborating agency along with the United Nations Environment Program, that is UNEP. It sounds the importance of environment protection and ecosystem restoration, which is directly linked and related with health issues. It is because of that WHO association with UN. Though the World Environment Day, which always I call that as a WED, W-E-D, World Environment Day, was established by UN, as I mentioned earlier, in 1972. World Environment Day was first observed in 1974 in the United States of America, USA. Then in the year 1974, that is the year 1974, is the year when my Pujya Guru Sri Bal Gangadhar Swamiji was coronated as a 72nd Jagadguru of Adi Chunchanagiri Mahasansthan Math, which has the history of 1800 years. That is the year when first ever World Environment Day was celebrated. The theme of the celebration then was Only One Earth We Have. The theme of this year's World Environment Day 2021 is Reimagine, Recreate, Restore. This year also marks the beginning of the United Nations Decade on Ecosystems Restoration. This is the day to observe across the world to respect and acknowledge everything that the environment has given to mankind and to take the pledge that to protect it. The global pandemic that the world has been dealing with for almost 18 months now has shown how disastrous the consequences of ecosystem loss can be. By shrinking the area of natural habitat for animals, we have created ideal conditions for pathogens, including coronavirus, to spread. Slowly, nature has been teaching lessons practically, quite dearly, that only with healthy ecosystems man can live happily. We can counteract climate change and we can stop the collapse of biodiversity. For too long, we have been exploiting and destroying the planet's ecosystems. Every 3 seconds, it is said, the world loses enough forest green cover. Over the last century, we have destroyed half of the wetlands and the forest. We use quite often the word ecosystem. So far, I have been using several times ecosystem, what it means, how we can understand that. An ecosystem is a community. Already our Amar Narayan has mentioned it in the very beginning itself. Just for our understanding, ecosystem is nothing but a community of plants and animals interacting with each other in a given area and also with their non-living environment like weather, earth, sun, soil, climate, and atmosphere. For instance, in a family where we all have been living, many entities are there: family members, livestock, pet animals, lizards, plants, trees around, and soil in the garden, birds, and so on and so forth. Only when all these elements are coexisting properly in harmonious way, life system is conducive and bearable to live. Then only one's life is quite happy, peaceful, and tranquil. Similarly, at macro level, the ecosystem relates to the way that all these different organisms live in close proximity to each other and how they interact with each other. I was invited to a housewarming ceremony of one of our devotees quite recently. I could see the house, which was beautifully built. House was looking like a mansion, which was built in 2 acres of land. I realized that house was built at a cost of 20 crores with all the facilities. I asked that leader, Gowda, how much it was spent, for which I was told that 20 crores. How many family members, again, I asked them, who would live in this house? He said, 2 plus 2, a couple plus 2 children. That is all. He had not planted even a single sapling. Building was looking good, but something was missing. No spirit, no elegance. It was looking like a paper flower without pervading fragrance. Adjacent to that compound, just outside, there was a big banyan tree. I have shown him the tree. Hundreds of birds were chirping and living in that. Monkeys, squirrels, must also be snakes, butterflies, and so on were coexisting, living over there. If a small tree, just one tree, it can shelter so many beings of creations, why we human beings are being isolated or thinking that we can live happily being separated from all existence? It's not possible. Man alone cannot live. Just if you plant some fruit bearing trees within the compound, flowering plants, creating ponds for water harvest, how beautiful it would be, isn't it? Trees will shelter the birds and bear the fruits. Jasmine plants give the flowers and spread the fragrance around. Bees will suck the nectar to give honey. If pond is created within our campus, rainwater can be stored and be used for the garden. Whole home will be peaceful and cool, even without need of any air conditioning system. The whole process would create a right ecosystem around the home at micro level. Similarly, ecosystems can be restored, including forests, farmlands, cities, wetlands, and oceans. Today's celebration, World Environment Day, WED, is right initiative of ecosystem restoration. Governments, business agencies, multinational companies, micro and macro communities, and individuals can launch this restoration of ecosystem quite rightly. Ecosystem degradation may happen with harmful policies of governments. Lakes and coastlines can be polluted because of poor waste management or on industrial accidents. Commercial and trade activities pressure can take away green spaces from towns and cities. So government policies should be environment friendly. Social life should be in line with the principles of nature. Development of any country should not be at the cost of nature as a whole. In our ancient tradition, nature used to be worshipped as God. That's not to everybody. Divine was the nature. Village folk rise in the morning and used to sing folk song, which is not to everybody. ಬೆಳಗಾಗಿ ನಾನೆದ್ದು ಯಾರ್ಯಾರ ನೆನೆಯಾಲಿ ಎಳ್ಳು ಜೀರಿಗೆ ಬೆಳೆಯೋಳ ಎಳ್ಳು ಜೀರಿಗೆ ಬೆಳೆಯೋಳ ಭೂಮಿ ತಾಯಿ ಎದ್ದೊಂದು ಗಳಿಗೆ ನೆನೆದೇನ. Though our people were illiterate during that time, knowing not reading and writing, they did know the value and importance of Mother Nature and Earth. Mother Earth gives everything. If you sow a seed, in return she gives generously in abundance. Yes, I am grateful to Mother Earth, who nourishes all the crops, essence of all the beings. Such was the gratefulness towards Giver, the nature. Ages ago in Gurukulas, ancient tradition education center, children used to be taught after long hours of night sleep, at dawn, early in the morning, even when we were children. When one woke up and before starting activities, we used to chant the mantras, invoking Mother Earth, mountains, oceans, and nature. What we used to tell? We used to recite Samudra Vasani Devi, Parvatastana Mandite, Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam, Padasparsham Kshamaswami. It means, oh Mother Earth, you are wearing ocean as your attire with the beautiful waves. You are giver of nourishing milk, essential food, and wealth through mountains and flowing rivers. And you are none other than better of a wife of the Lord Vishnu, who is the sustainer of this world. This is the kind of reverence and regard which we do have towards our Mother Earth. So I start my day. Before walk around on my feet, I beg your pardon for touching you with my feet while walking around. Such was a great reverence what we did have. But modern education system, in the absence of right integration of spiritual education, so thanks to the Oasis, they have corrected from social to spiritual. Though social is also very good terminology, but the correction of your spiritual is very well understood, well taken. The spiritual education is missing. It has taken away all these value-based life system from our education system. For our people, nature as a whole was not mere inert or a lifeless jada. Every bit of the existence was adorable. We used to worship trees, birds, water, stones, everything. So children again, during our boyhood, we used to be taught Mulato Brahma Rupaya. We used to be taken quite near to the big tree, Ashwatha Ruksha, and our teachers used to tell and our mothers used to tell, and they used to make us to recite this mantra, Mulato Brahma Rupaya, Madhyato Vishnu Rupini, Agratak Shiva Rupaya, Ruksha Rajayate Namaha. Tree was not just a tree. It is the confluence of Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. It is not that these Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwaras were being worshipped somewhere in the temples. Those used to be seen in the very nature itself. It is the embodiment of Trimurtis. So early in the morning, as a part of worship and prayers, trees used to be worshipped while we were studying and during our childhood days. O king of trees, it means, O king of trees, I salute you, who has the form of Brahma at the base, Vishnu at the middle part of the tree, and Ishwara at the peak. So, to restore the ecosystem, lost glory of nature, we should restore our culture first. Without the cultured mind, the mind which is to perform good deeds cannot positively act. Culture is the personality, and it is identity of the person. Uncultured man cannot be sensitive, cannot understand the subtle nature of the ecosystem. Our children learning in schools and universities and the colleges should be taught all these things. Children are sensitive. Their mind is not yet polluted. They are the future of our nature. Their internal inner consciousness and horizon was not dusted. So till recent decades, nature was intact. It was undisturbed. As we know, globe has the history of 450 crores years. Until 2030, our oxygen level was somewhere around 250 ppm, parts per million. But now it has crossed 400. Permissible limit should be somewhere around 350. Such is the detrimental thing which we have done to our mother nature. Human desire of amassing wealth, power, status, competition across the continents between the nations made nature to be exploited. We have abused the nature very badly. In this decade, it is imperative, quite crucial, to protect and preserve and conserve the pristine ecosystem across the world. In this context, the education institutions play a major role. The students will be the main pillars to support the promotion of healthy ecosystems across the world. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, whose name is known to everybody, during his tour programs, used to visit schools, colleges, because he was liking children very much, understanding that they are the great asset of our country. He addressed millions of youth invariably in all the speeches. Towards the end, he used to emphasize the need of planting the saplings. He used to make students to take oath in regard to environment, which was popularly known as environment oath. Environment oath here I wish to mention, because this being the Environmental Day, if at all, if there are any students, let them know what actually Dr. Kalam used to tell. Dr. Kalam used to make students to take this oath. I'm going to read that out. Dr. Kalam's, APJ Abdul Kalam's environment oath. 10 points are there. I am reading out. Let it be heard by everybody. First one is, these are all not my words, rather Dr. Kalam's words. I am reading out. I realize that every nature tree by photosynthesis absorbs 20 kgs of carbon dioxide every year. By the same process, each tree lets out about 14 kgs of oxygen every year. This is the first point, first oath. Next, I will plant and nurture 10 trees and will ensure my parents. I will plant and nurture 10 trees and will ensure my parents, my sisters, and my brothers plant trees, and my neighbors also plant 10 trees each. I will be an ambassador for tree missions in my locality. I will keep my house and its surroundings clean and use products which are only biodegradable to the extent possible. I will promote a culture of environment friendliness through recycling and conservation of water and other recyclable materials both at home and school. This is the fourth one. Fifth point is, when I take a professional career, I will take decision with respect of organizational process which protects the environment and preserves the biodiversity. Sixth point, I will encourage the use of renewable energy to the maximum extent possible. I will spread the awareness about the need to preserve the environment in my home, in my locality and among my students, friends. I will engage the water conservation. I will engage the water conservation, especially by rainwater harvesting, and spread the message in my family and friends. So these are the words which are uttered by Dr. Kalam. Dr. Kalam's oath is addressed here. If at all, if there are students, please listen to this. This oath this can be downloaded from the website. So this is for understanding of our children. Dr. Kalam had a great ambition. He used to our Sri Kshetra Adi Chunchanagiri Math quite often. He had a great ambition to establish spiritual garden in the Mughal garden of Rashtrapati Bhavan. Those who have visited Rashtrapati Bhavan, they must have visited Mughal garden, which is in the rear side of Rashtrapati Bhavan. He had a great desire to bring one spiritual garden in that premises. He invited chief religious masters of all the religions. Puja Sri Dr. Bal Gangan Mahaswamiji too was invited. By then, Guruji had established Karnataka Vanasamvardhana Trust, bringing all the chief panthis and Jagat Gurus of all the religions, different mutts of Karnataka. As our Amarnani has mentioned, Puja Guruji had initiated this program with the aim of each one plant one. Then the Karnataka's population was somewhere around 5 crore. With that intention, he started. Not that it has not been completed, but after the task was completed, still we have been continuing with that. Of course, now onwards we are going to take up that project the way our Puja Guruji had started during that time. So during that time, Dr. Kalam was very happy to know under Karnataka Vanasamvardhana Trust, more than by then 5 crore plants were planted. And that day he said, Puja Guruji, Dr. Kalam had told Puja Guruji, there is no confection, there is no contradiction, there is no competition, there is no confusion, there is no commotions in the nature and in the world. It is there only in the human mind and human society. If man can listen to the nature properly, world will be peaceful. So true is what's even now. Let us listen to the nature. As we printed on the program card, the invitation which is made on the program card, it is mentioned, the future of planet and humanity lies in our hands. Let us reimagine, recreate, restore, and create Environment Day, celebrate Environmental Day today and everybody. Let us join the Green Wave 2021. I must congratulate Canara College from Mangalore, Adi Chunchanagiri Shiksha Trust, and Organization for Industrial, Spiritual and Cultural Advancement for having come together to organize this program to dissipate and to spread this knowledge of World Environment Day. So this kind of program should happen more and more. Beseeching Kalbhairava and praying Puja Guruji to bestow and to bless all the people of the world with the auspicious mind to serve the nature, to be protected. I conclude my words. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you, Swamiji, for your insightful messages. May I request Swamiji Dinanath Bhagat to share his views on this occasion. The legacy of Canara Group of institutions dates back to 130 years ago. Founded by a great visionary and a philanthropist, late Sri Amembal Subbarao Pai, whose contributions in the field of education and banking are remarkable. Canara Educational Institutions walks its milestones on the footsteps laid down by its founder. We have with us C.A. Vaman Kamath, Treasurer, Canara High School Association. Now, I request Vaman Kamath sir to deliver his presidential address. Over to you, sir.
अखंड मंडलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. At the very beginning, let me offer my pranams to Shri Dr. Nirmalanandanath Mahaswamiji for his gracious presence here. Sri Amar Narayan, Sri Nalin, Dr. Premlata, principal of my college, Professor Dejamma and other teaching and non-teaching faculty, the invitees and all the student participants who are participating in this wonderful program. I'm really happy to be here. I remember a few years ago, as Sri Anantanarayana has said, when he had attended a program at our college, I was also one of the participants on that occasion. I still remember when he narrated item by item how things are to be segregated, what we call as waste, and how he said that nothing moves out of his house on a daily basis, and that he is recycling, putting together and using it, making productive use of all the things that are necessary. I was very much impressed, and I definitely should say that such presentations, such talks really inspire us to do a lot in the day-to-day life of ours. I remember again my own days in the school, when of course we were not speaking of nature as the ecosystem, we were just talking about the Vana Mahotsava when the monsoon started, because in the month of June, monsoon start here in the coastal Karnataka. Now thinking in retrospect, probably, I would say that we are all forming part of nature. We are linked to the nature. Swamiji has beautifully narrated how we are interacting with nature, how we are abusing nature, and what needs to be done. I remember properly my younger days in school, not once I moved out to the college, younger days in school, when my teacher in Sanskrit taught me that we are not people who think about generations from monkey to man. We are thinking about the body, which is forming part of the temple itself, being framed by Pancha Mahabhutas or the Pancha Tattvas. That is Prithvi, Apas, Vayu, Agni, and Akash. Prithvi refers to the earth, Mother Earth. Apas is the water, Varun. Agni is the energy that generates us to move around, to do things, to think, to interact with each other. Vayu is what we intake for our energy generation, and the Akash, the fifth element. So these five elements make us the temple of all that is to be perceived, make us part of nature. And it is really wonderful that such concepts are taught to the students, how we are not properly making use of nature, what is to be done. In this ecosystem, if we think about in broader lines about these five items, that is looking after, taking care of Mother Earth, the way we should respect Mother Earth, asking her forgiveness even for stepping on her, as Swamiji has said, the way we should respect the energies that drive us to do things, the way in which the source of such energy, whatever we intake by way of food grown in the nature, by way of the air that we generate, that air that we intake to generate this energy, the source of energy, and also everything that surrounds us, which I perceive, I may be wrong to some extent, I may be right to some extent, as the ever bonding, the fifth element, that is Akash. So putting together all these things, we need to take care of each and every aspect. We are talking these days about polluting the earth. We are talking about polluting the water. We have heard so much about cleansing the Ganga, the most important river so far as we are concerned, the most divine river, which is supposed to wash away all the sins and other things. The Ganga, we are talking about cleansing her. We are talking about air pollution. We are talking about the situation where if you go to the capital city of Delhi, you are not able to see clearly because of the fog that persists there. I have seen such a situation in many of the industrial places and cities wherever I have visited, may it be the Mumbai area, may it be Kolkata, may it be Delhi also. That means pollution can be created by not only dusting around, littering around, here at home, in the college, in the office, on the streets, and so on, but also polluting water, polluting air, polluting the environment, maybe by noise as well. Noise is also a sort of pollution. So we have to take care of all these issues, and when to start the first step, where to start the first step. That is what I was thinking about. I still remember that when our children go to school, in probably the smaller classes, the nursery classes or the primary or the elementary school children, whatever the teacher tells them is the law. So even if the teacher makes a small mistake and the parent at home tries to correct it, the child refuses to accept that the parent is correct, that the teacher is wrong. So that being the importance of a teacher in a child's life, which will continue definitely all throughout his life, because every person continues to be a student. I am still a student, though I have crossed the age of retirement, that is being considered as a senior citizen. I still consider myself to be a student because I learn so many new things. And keeping all this in mind, I should say that right from the day a child starts learning, right from the day a child starts probably going to the school, right from the day a child starts understanding nature, maybe at home, maybe in the school, maybe while walking around in the garden, maybe on the road, the child needs to be taught the importance of preserving our ecosystem. Teaching the child at a young age will probably continue over the years. So I don't consider myself as an authority on such issues, but what as a common citizen of this country I perceive, I'm just trying to put across a few thoughts. So whatever we might have learned, I'm talking about only one thing, that is that Vana Mahotsav, which I used to celebrate in school, planting some sapling over there, some vegetable sapling or some flower plant somewhere across in the school garden. I still remember today. That means whatever we learn, even though we might have forgotten over a period of time, once the appropriate moment comes, definitely we shall try to recollect and act accordingly, so that we as a responsible citizens continue to take care of the Mother Earth and definitely the 5 elements that we are interacting with on a daily basis. Spiritually speaking, I should say the body is comprised of these 5 elements, and the body of a person itself is the temple of learning. Once appropriate elements, appropriate thoughts, appropriate initiatives are put across in this body, probably we shall continue to teach our children, our friends, our family, our neighbors, everybody, that there should be some contribution at least on everybody's part to improve the ecosystem, to respect, to honor the nature, the 5 elements that we should be considering as important. Definitely, I should say, Sri Amar Narayana has given us wonderful insight as to what all things we can do as responsible citizens, and particularly the youngsters who have got a lot of energy. Our country is supposed to be having the maximum number of youngsters in any country across the globe as of now. So the youngsters have a lot of energy. The youngsters can do a lot. And such thoughts as to what can be done, what can be implemented, have been wonderfully presented by Sri Amar Narayana. And I still remember, as I said earlier, I still remember the day a few years back, maybe 3 years back, when he had visited our college and explained so many things, which I still continue to practice to whatever extent it is possible at my end, maybe at my office and my home. This is a wonderful occasion. This is a wonderful occasion in the sense we from different backgrounds, we from different areas of the state or the country, we from different what I can say educational qualifications are able to interact with each other and put across our thoughts or accept. The question of acceptance is equally important as much as it is of conveying something, accepting whatever is conveyed and trying to implement all the good things that are narrated today by Sri Amarnaran as well as Sri Nadin, and of course, definitely revered Swamiji, who has given a spiritual twist to whatever he has conveyed. My grandmother used to say that people should be craving for space and space should not be craving for people. When he narrated that incidents of the housewarming situation where only 4 people are staying in a big palace-like thing, I think we should be thinking about how much we need as humans to live on this planet, to be doing the things that are expected of us, having brought to birth and life by the Supreme Being. I thank my principal and of course all the participants here for the opportunity that is given to us to interact and say a few words on this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Sri Lingesh Sidnath to share his thought on this context.
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful time, a wonderful day, and I am so happy to witness the legends talking on the environment. Yes, thank you very much, sir, for giving me the opportunity to talk a few words about our project, which is coming up in Chitradurga district. This is 1,500 acres of land, from where we have been adapting. To be precise, we are adapting this 1,500 acres of land, and we are.
Madam can sing Shanti Mantra.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Bhumi Mangalam, Udaka Mangalam, Agni Mangalam, Vayu Mangalam, Gagana Mangalam, Surya Mangalam, Chandra Mangalam, Jagat Mangalam, Deha Mangalam, Mano Mangalam, Atma Mangalam, Sarva Mangalam, Bhavatu Bhavatu Bhavatu, Bhavatu Bhavatu Bhavatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Wonderful, madam.
Oh,
Wonderful,
thank you,
madam. I would like to say a few words about Dr. Vijayalakshmi Balakundi. She is a famous doctor, and she is a contributor, and she is a short poetry writer. She writes a lot of poems on nature. She is an active member in our Nurture the Nature group, which I have created to exchange the views on nature. We are really delighted to have you, madam, and we are really blessed to hear your Shanti Mantra. Let's be in touch, and it's because it's getting late for the webinar to be over. We hope to look forward for your erudite speeches.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸರ್.
Okay, thank you, madam. Okay, we have come to the end of this program. The webinar is materialized today with the directions, guidance, and support of many. It's our duty to express our sense of gratitude to all. I request Mr. Hardik P. Chauhan to propose vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
The sun that rises has to set. The flowers that bloom have to bloom. Likewise, the program that we began has come to an end. Here, the uppermost feeling of our heart is gratitude. A very pleasant evening to one and all. It's my privilege to express the words of gratitude on the occasion of World Environment Day 2021, commemorated jointly by Kendra College Mangaluru in association with Sri Adi Chunchanagiri Educational Trust Bengaluru and Organizational for Industrial, Social and Cultural Advancement Karnataka chapter. At the very outset, with utmost respect, humility, reverence and with folded hands, we wish to place on record our deep sense of gratitude to His Holiness Parama Pujya Sri 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 Dr. Nirmalanandanatha Mahaswamiji, the Pontiff of Sri Adi Chunchanagiri Mahasamsthana Math, for his divine presence amidst us. Our pranams and heartfelt thanks for having accepted our invitation to associate with us and also showering the divine blessings with, upon all of us with your pearls of wisdom. Dhanyavadaha Pujya Swamiji. It takes a big heart to recognize another big heart. We remain extremely grateful to Sri K. Amar Narayana Sir, retired IAS officer and President, ISCA Bengaluru chapter, for your remarkable keynote address on the topic Role of Educational Institutions in Restoration of Ecosystems. As rightly said, an ignited mind is a more powerful weapon on the earth, and this is God through education. Sir, your resourceful presentation with rich insights have reaffirmed the role of educational institutions to ignite the young minds and youth towards environmental consciousness. Sir, we sincerely thank you for giving us the opportunity to associate with the eminent organizations, also for your minute-to-minute guidance, directions, support, and for providing encouragement at every point of time in the organization of this very meaningful event. Thank you very much, sir. We express our gratefulness to Sri Nalin, the Secretary and Chief Coordinator, ISCA South India Chapter, for introducing and acquainting us with the concept of Green Wave program. Thank you, sir. We owe our sincere thanks to our very own CA M. Vaman Kamath sir, the Treasurer of Canara High School Association, for graciously presiding over today's program and also encouraging us with your ever willingness support for all our endeavors. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We express our respectful regards and heartfelt gratitude to our correspondent, Shri Maru Sudhir Pai sir, in his absence, and also other esteemed members of the Governing Council for their unstinted support and continuous encouragement. I accord my deep sense of gratitude to our beloved principal, Dr. Premlata V, for her able guidance and enormous support in all our endeavors. Thank you, dear madam. Permit me to acknowledge with thanks the presence and participation of Dr. N. Shivram Reddy, Chief Administrative Officer, Sri Adi Chunchanagiri Shikshana Trust, Chikkabellapura Division, and all other participating delegates from the MUD. We also acknowledge the gracious presence and kind participation of all the guest invitees and representatives from OISCA, both in meet and all those viewing this event live on YouTube and Facebook. We wish to mention our deep sense of appreciation to all the participating friends for joining us virtually in celebrating this day even more meaningfully. Together with all, let's do our bit to rebuild and reset our relationship with the nature. Thank you, dear participants. Words of thanks also goes out to all the members of Kendra College family, both teaching and non-teaching staff, for your kind presence and participation in this program. Thank you, dear madams and sirs. Loads of thanks to all our dear students for connecting us live through YouTube and Facebook. We wish and hope that you will carry the imprints made by the dignitaries from their remarkable messages. Thank you, dear students. On a very concluding note, let's all truly understand the essence of this year's theme of World Environment Day and reaffirm ourselves to embrace it. This is our moment. Let's make peace with nature, take oath to protect our Mother Nature, and create a greener world for ourselves and also for all our coming generation. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.